How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Ghostober special. I'm your digital host, James McDaniel, and I am here to talk to you guys not only about tonight's premiere of the Holzer Files at 11:10 Central on Travel Channel, but also to talk to the entire cast of the Holzer Files. I'm about to bring in Dave Schrader, Cindy Kaza, Shane Pittman, the whole crew. Michelle Williams is here, Andy McClung, Kimberly Campert, Nora Beth, Eileen, Crystal Thibodeau, Quinny. Crystal, are you here? Oh, you're in Connecticut. I'm in Louisiana, so that Thibodeau name jumped right out at me. Randy Bartholomew, Michelle Childers. But listen, this isn't just my interview with the Holzer Files crew. This is your interview. So if you have any questions for the team, I want you to drop them in the comments ASAP. Hopefully we've got a really good crew here. We won't lose them in the comments. Let's see. Chris Curry says, hello. Can't wait for the premiere. One of the best shows. Absolutely. All right, everybody. I am about to bring the whole crew in here. Let me just change this. All right. We're adding Dave Schrader is here. Cindy Kaza is here. And Shane Pittman is here live from Atlanta. How are y'all doing, everybody?
Doing great. How you doing?
I am so excited to be here with y'all. As I think all of you know, Holzer Files is one of my favorite new shows of last year. What's it like being in your skin right now, getting ready for this premiere tonight at 11:10 Central?
I'm so anxious. I'm just going to speak for myself. I'm so excited and anxious, and yeah, I'm excited mostly.
You need it to be in the past. You need this to be tomorrow right now, don't you?
Yeah, and what people might not know is that we see the episodes the same time they do. So we don't even know how it turned out, right? So it's for me too as the medium, because I don't have all the details either. Like some of the things, even in last season when we watched the episodes unfold, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that came together that way. So it's exciting. Yeah.
Now, Shane, we've already got at least 2 poor Shane hashtags in the comments. What are some of your Give us some highlights for you from this season. What do we have to look forward to tonight and for the next 13 or so weeks?
Well, you're going to be seeing more poor Shane moments, but you're going to be seeing some never before seen tech being used on the show. So I'm really excited about that. Really excited about that. Oh yeah. But yeah, plenty of poor Shane moments. And let me just say real quick, some poor Dave moments.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dave has some moments this season.
Dave, last season you appeared to get drop kicked. Are there any suplexes in season 2?
Well, I will say this. You saw me get knocked to the ground at Whaley House, bit at the USS Constellation. This season, I can tell you something freaks me out so much, I Kool-Aid Man through a wall.
That's my dream paranormal moment,
dude.
I make that joke on every watch party, Dave.
If you only knew. And thankfully, our cameraman was at an angle where you don't see me totally go through the wall, but I back up and go through. And then I will tell you that there is an episode I end up badly bruised and bleeding this season.
Oh, wow.
Is it a spirit or a clumsy old man? You'll have to watch to find out.
Hey, what about tonight's episode? What can you tell us about that? Can you give us any tidbits before the show airs?
Here's what I'll tell you. This case was really astounding. Not just because it was, another Holzer Files case, but this case was so well documented. This family in Cleveland, Ohio, living in this kind of tenement area, were tormented for a long time by these spirits or a spirit in their crawl space in the cellar. They would hear cries and screams. The cellar door would lift on its own and they would see this bloody hand reaching out. It terrified them. They would put things on top of the trapdoor. The trapdoor would be opened again and everything would be moved. And it wasn't just the family, because if it's just the family, you think maybe they're nuts, right? Maybe that's the problem. But friends, neighbors, family saw it. And at one point they call the police. The police come, see this thing coming up through the floor, call out a warning and shoot 4 times at it. And when they open the door, no body, no blood. And the cop says, you don't need the police, you need a priest. And that's just the start of our story tonight.
And that's all tonight. Now, I want to address something real quick here at the very beginning before we move on to more questions. I have seen, and I know all three of you have seen, lots of people shocked that it's 11:10 Central. Let everybody know what the time is going to be moving forward.
We'll be an hour earlier every week after this one. But tonight we're happy to yield because the world loves Tiger King. The world can't get enough of insane. So we're stepping back an hour tonight so that the Ghost Adventures crew can launch their Halloween spectacular 2-hour investigation of the supernatural chaos that is Joe Exotic's park. And then you stay tuned and watch the brand new episode of the Holzer Files. And I promise, if you stay up late with us tonight for one Thursday night, you're going to be thankful you did, and it will be a great kickoff to your Halloween weekend.
Yeah, if you can't stay up, put on your DVR. Just record it, right?
Right,
yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna be staying up with you guys, and we're gonna be live tweeting, and we're gonna be on Twitter and all of that stuff, trying to answer any questions you guys have. So we really appreciate you staying up late with us to watch the premiere.
That's really great to know, Shane. So since you just dropped that, I want everybody to tell the fans listening right now what's your Twitter handle? How can they follow you so that they can interact with you tonight during the episode? Let's start with you, Shane.
All right, so I am at Starring Shane, which is on Twitter. I'll be on Twitter, live tweeting, and we'll be on the hashtag Holzer Files and be looking at it there.
Hashtag poor Shane.
Hashtag poor Shane.
So make sure you use hashtag Holzer Files so we can go through the comments and answer the questions that way, because that's where we're going to be trying to answer the questions.
How do we find you, Cindy?
I'm at Medium Cindy Keza, and I'll also be live tweeting tonight. So, yeah.
All right, Dave, how about you?
I wish I would have been cooler with the name and been like at Tall, Darkness, and Handsome, but mine's just at Darkness. Just at Darkness Radio. You'll find me on Twitter that way, and we'll be watching along with you guys.
Hashtag Kool-Aid Man.
Okay.
Hashtag Kool-Aid Man.
Not tonight. Get that going this season. Shane, so season 1, well, you know what? I'm not even going to start like that. Okay, scale of 1 to 10, 1 being just meaningless, 10 being the most. What is the level of spiders in season 2 of the Holzer Files?
Man.
I don't think there was too many spiders. What was
there? Dave's eyebrows
yes,
are showing differently.
If you recall, one of our behind the crew members, we ended up calling Kramer Squatch because James, it was crazy.
Oh,
this one property had spiders this big around. They were huge, and at night
they were everywhere.
And we had to be outside, and we had to be walking through this garden area, and there were these huge spider webs you wouldn't notice until you walked into it. So at one point, we started hearing, walked into this giant spider web with spiders, and he's rolling on the ground like he's on fire. That scared the hell out of us, but that episode was filled with really freaky, huge spiders.
Yeah.
I'm hoping someone watching is going to get the gif of Dave's face for that. Somebody in the comments just asked if I'm going to be live tweeting. Absolutely. I'm at Peppermint Fatty. Let's see if we have any other questions here. While I'm looking, Cindy, you've been a medium for a very long time, but I believe last season was the first time that you kind of employed your talents to go into haunted locations and try and communicate. Did season 2, did your experience season 2, did that become easier? Did that become more difficult? How was season 2 for you with your mediumship?
Season 2, I feel like, it's a great season. I'm super proud of this season of Holzer Files. What's interesting for me is that I get to, utilize all these other aspects of psychic ability. So in my normal day, quote unquote, day job, I'm usually doing events where I'm bringing through people's loved ones who have passed away. But with Holzer Files, I get to go in and use psychometry, automatic writing, remote viewing, mediumship. Like there are so many different aspects of that fall under the umbrella of psychic ability and mediumship that I get to use. So it's super fun for me because I've been, learning about these things for a long time, but there hasn't been one place where I've been able to use all of them, I guess, in a location, I get to do all that. It's really, really fun. And I'm learning a lot by being a part of this show, because I'll go into some locations and I'm like, wow, like this is crazy. I'm seeing all this crazy stuff. And I want everybody to remember, like, stories or rumors can create their own energy and imprint in a location. And that's something new that I learned this season, which fascinates me. Yeah.
I'm really excited to see that. It sounds like you're really your season 2 has allowed you to really spread your wings.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah,
let's see.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to tie in this. Season 1, I felt like I could spread my wings too. I think it's more with season 2. I was more used to it, and so it was a little bit more freeing because I was more used to going into locations. Yeah.
Y'all, we have somebody from Iceland who's watching y'all right now. Solving. I should actually not attempt to say that name. Maria Leach wants to know what time the show is Eastern time. Maria, that's going to be 11 p.m. tonight. Let's see. We have somebody here saying they've studied. Dale Deacon says, I studied Hans Holzer many, many years ago. He was the real deal, and so is this show. And he added at the end, Cindy is absolutely gifted. I think we can all agree on that.
Aww.
Now, Dave,
thanks, guys.
Has there been any change as you guys have kind of moved deeper into the Holzer files themselves, into how you guys structure the initial research into the file, and then in spreading and kind of going deeper with your investigation?
You know, we've got really a fantastic group, the 5 of us, with Alexandra kind of being the voice of her father, tying the past to what we're about to do. Gabe Roth, give him a lot of credit for going deep into the files, finding these stories, finding the audio and video that correlates with it, and bringing it to us. And then working with these families and locations to explain why it's important for us to come back. So we do deep dive into all of these stories. We uncover stuff. I'll tell you, I'm going to be 53 in November. And there were things.
Dave and I share the same birthday, by the way, guys. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, wow.
22nd. Yeah. So you can send presents directly. No, but I learned things at this age that I was never taught in American history. And these aren't folklore parts of history. They're parts of our history that were completely stepped over and forgotten. And we kick the dirt back up, and we allow the spirits to have a voice and remind us why these places are haunted, so that they're not forgotten. And we know that was so important to Dr. Holzer, and he loved history, and he loved getting it right, getting the facts right. And he was going with the best he could when he did this 40, 50, 60 years ago. He didn't have Google. He didn't have research tools like newspapers.com. He had to go off of the word of the historians and experts that would fill him in. But when you read his notes, he's like, something seems off. This is the story. This is how I'll represent the story, but I know there's more to find. And we go in and find it.
Mm-hmm. You know, Dave, I was reading some stuff today on this season. I watched a couple previews, and it sounds like this season the spirits are especially receptive to y'all being there. It sounds like on at least one occasion, if not more, they were really needing to speak with y'all.
Well, we started this season at the beginning of the year, and we shot about 4 or 5 episodes, and then we were watching week after week how this pandemic was gaining strength and speed. And I remember we filmed 1 or 2 episodes as we launched into the next, or 1 or 2 interviews into an episode. And then all of a sudden, production's like, we got to go home. This is getting weird. They're talking about closing down borders. So like everyone else, we all went home, and we were down for 3 months. And then when we went back out, these places that were so filled with lifeblood of tourists and visitors and curiosity seekers and historians, they were starved of attention. And when we came back in, all hell broke loose. I promise you, hand to God, James, and this isn't just braggadocious, this season of the Holzer Files, you are going to see some of the best paranormal evidence ever captured on a paranormal show. That's my promise.
That's awesome. And I think as I've been kind of talking to paranormal fans throughout the pandemic, doing watch parties and things like that, that's one question that's come up a lot is, what is it like for the spirits in these famous haunted places that all of a sudden no one's there? No one's there looking for them. No one's there talking to them. And it sounds like that's a question that's going to get answered this season.
Cindy I was going to say, Cindy could probably answer to that more as a medium to know if the spirits are looking for this attention again.
Yeah. Cindy, did you see a marked difference between the first half of the season and the second half?
Well, for me, I feel like I talk to dead people all the time, so it's kind of my normal life.
Yeah.
It's like,
And then she talks to these two brain dead
here's
guys
the thing,
all
like,
the time.
the parent.
Hey,
But
speak
the
for
paranormal
yourself, man.
activity that we captured.
What's that, Cindy? What'd you
No,
say?
but really, like, seriously, the paranormal activity that we captured on video and audio this season, it blows my mind. And I don't say that lightly. Like, I feel like I was really fortunate to be able to be a part of experiencing what we were experiencing this season. It's really exciting. I'm excited for everybody to watch it. And, the way I experience spirits is like, right, like they want their stories to be told. So imagine you're a medium, you're like the lighthouse in the middle of the ocean. Right? Everybody wants to come to you. So, and then imagine nobody's in a house, nobody's in a building, and then all of a sudden we're going back in and I'm the medium. And, everybody has mediumistic ability to a degree. So they're just really wanting to communicate, They're hungry for communication, for attention, all that stuff.
Katrina Matheson wants to know, was there a particular state that you guys investigated in the most this season? Or were you pretty spread out? A particular state, like New York,
Maine?
Connecticut, Maine?
It could have been Maine or maybe New York, New Jersey.
Okay.
Or Massachusetts or Maryland. It's definitely all of the states. Within the contingent 48, you'll find us there a lot this season.
One of the New England states or a bordering state is what you're saying.
Yeah, we really only I think we only venture out once or twice out west. Most of the stories we stayed close so that we could travel was cut. We weren't flying. We were driving to locations a lot more to be cautious. Wow. So our, one episode I know we're really psyched about is going out to the Queen Mary. And we were the first paranormal team ever allowed aboard the Queen Mary since it was docked in 1967 to have the full run of the ship. There was no one on board. There were no visitors. There were no employees. There was a couple of security guys and the Commodore, and that was it. And we had free reign, and that episode will air later this season, and it's amazing. I've been there so many times, and it's so lively and haunted and just such a rich environment for the supernatural. And to go back on there with nobody was really, I got to be honest with you, it was really a terrifying experience.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And I have to say, the Queen Mary was probably one of the craziest investigations I've ever had in the investigative part, where I was using the Mel meter and it's cool. That episode is really cool.
How did the Queen Mary shape up to your investigation last season of the ship? Is it the Constellation in Baltimore Harbor?
Well, this season, going from the Constellation where I got bit to Cindy actually picked up an attachment at the Queen Mary that I think from the pictures I see online, she's still dealing with.
Cindy, that's a question that we've actually had here in the comments tonight. Have you had to deal with any attachments from this season of the Holzer Files?
Actually, thanks, Dave. Thanks for that, buddy.
Inside joke.
Here's actually, yes, I have. Oh boy. So I got to get grounded here. Okay, yes, I have. So what's really interesting is a lot of times when I leave an investigation, I'm really pretty good at cleansing myself, being aware of my energy and all that stuff. But I did have an experience this season where a friend of mine named Sarah, she lives in Indonesia. She's an Indonesian trance medium. I did some interviews with her during COVID on Zoom. You can find them on my Facebook. But she sent me a text on WhatsApp and she said, Cindy, I really need to talk to you. Like, I really think there's a woman that's followed you home from an investigation. And I was like, really? She's like, totally. She's like, I really want to call you. So she calls me and she's telling me all this stuff. And she goes, hey, my brother drew her. So her brother is a draws spirit. So she texted me the picture of the spirit that her brother drew. And it was uncanny. It was the same spirit from a location that we had just been at that she had no knowledge of. She's in Indonesia. She's in Jakarta. I don't tell her where we're going. And it was like, I showed Dave and Shane the picture, and it's crazy. So, sometimes mediums need each other to be like, hey, you have something following you. Let me help you get rid of that,
If that isn't worked into the episode, I hope we're able to come back and do another Facebook Live where we can get more into that, kind of connected to that episode, because that's really
Crazy.
fascinating.
Yep, it's
Now,
crazy.
Speaking for myself, if I can, I'll speak for myself. This, I'm happy to come back and do Facebook Live with you every week if you want to talk about the Holzer files and reach out to our fans. We love working with our fans.
Yeah.
You just dug yourself a hole, Dave Schrader.
Put me on.
I'm in too. Put me in too.
I'm in. Yeah.
We're always going to jump
We
on
got
here.
the whole team lined up.
This season, I will tell you, I do something I'd never done before. I kind of took the stance of, you know what, this place is so active, and there's a newer, more oppressive presence. And if I'm going in with all of my holy relics and my protection jewelry on, maybe it won't make itself known to me and I won't get answers. So I removed my all of my relics, and I've had some weird stuff happen in my personal life since I got back from filming, and it's stuff that we're noticing a lot of now. I'm going to also say I can't, because I'm not a medium. I don't know where this energy came from. Unfortunately, we lost my father-in-law during filming as well. So I don't know if it's his spirit knocking around our house or if it's something else, but we definitely have something kicking around this house. That's
really interesting. You should get Cindy on that ASAP. Now, one question I should have asked earlier is, and after I go through this whole thing, we're going to talk to Cindy more about this. I believe it was early during the summer. Cindy had a terrifying incident involving her Jeep, a wreck that could have been way worse than it was. Shane totaled one of his trucks. So my question was, what followed y'all home? And Dave Schrader, what are you doing to avoid automotive disaster?
I just avoid getting in the car. That's it. I'm terrified. And I'll tell you what, I won't let them drive if I'm with them. So, no, I just.
Hey, my accident was not my fault, dude. Like,
well, look,
Cindy.
I will say Dave hates when I drive. He absolutely hates it.
I've never
Doesn't surprise me at all.
I've never felt closer to God than when I'm in the car.
Cindy, tell us about that, though, because it wasn't even just what happened, but what could have happened if you hadn't made a different decision.
Yeah. So the whole thing, I mean, it's obviously I'm a medium. I'm a psychic. I trust my intuition. Sometimes it's harder for me to trust it when it's about me, but thank God, I trusted it in this particular situation because I drive Jeeps. So I had a Jeep Wrangler, a 2017 in perfect condition, and something told me it was a Saturday. I'm like, I need to get a new Jeep. And I was like, no, I don't. This Jeep hardly has any miles on it. I don't need a new Jeep. And something was like, no, you need to get a new Jeep. So I'm like trying to talk myself out of it. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to trust it. It would be nice to have auto locks and auto windows instead of the base model where I'm cranking the window and self-locking my doors. And like, okay, I've talked myself into it. Right. So I just listened, and in Denver, the dealerships aren't open on Sundays. It's illegal. So I was like really frustrated. So immediately on Monday, I go to the dealership, I buy a new Jeep, I trade in my old one, I buy the new one. And the next day I was driving to California and had 3 large suitcases in the back of my Jeep. I bought a hard top instead of a soft top. And the other thing I want to tell you is on the way to the dealership, I was still like, I don't know if this is the right choice. And a butterfly, and not to sound cheesy, but my mom died in 2013. Butterflies are my mom's thing. Like one of the only things I have left from my mom is a butterfly coaster. So this butterfly flies across my windshield. I'm like, that's it. I'm doing it. So I buy the Jeep on my way to California. And I'm stopped on the highway in traffic, just at a dead stop. And a woman rear-ended me going 70 miles per hour. She just didn't stop. And so the Jeep goes in the air. I walk away from it, right? I walk away from this accident fairly unscathed. I have some back stuff, but it's getting worked out. But if all those things hadn't been lined up with the new Jeep, the hard top, the 3 suitcases full of stuff that were probably 50 pounds each, that took a lot of that impact, I think I would have been in a different situation. And the kicker to all of this is when I'm turning in I have to look at my temporary insurance for the new Jeep. The expiration date was 1/4, which is my mom's birthday, January the 4th.
Oh, wow.
And like, once I saw that, I was like, I don't cry very much, but that was like, got through the accident, didn't cry. I was like in shock, but I didn't cry. And I saw that, and that was it, So, it was crazy, guys. It was crazy. But when I saw Shane's accident, I was like, you know what? That's crazy too. Are we all kind of carrying some stuff home from these locations with us? Like,
I hope not.
yeah. Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I know I've carried home about an extra 50 pounds from location. So, I'm hoping to get something to exercise the demons out of my flesh.
Shane, you want to tell us about yours real quick?
Yeah,
Your
I'll give you the really short version. It was my fault. So I pulled out in front of somebody and they hit me.
He was busy taking selfies in the car.
How did you guess?
We're
not supposed to be airing out all those secrets now. I confided in you, Dave.
Bringing it back around to this season, Shane. What was trying to think how to ask this. Basically, what was it like? How big a difference was it recording the second half of the season during quarantine, having to do COVID protocols? How much difficulty did that add to the process?
Well, it was fairly easy because our production company and Travel Channel, they were great throughout the whole thing. I mean, they laid out all the protocols that we had to do, and our crew has been excellent throughout the whole process. We kind of worked together to make things happen. We had to do things a little differently, but I would say personally, it was a really easygoing process, and I'm really thankful to have the crew and the cast that we have to make that happen.
Yeah. And Painless Productions, thank you. You were badass through all that for sure. Like, seriously.
Absolutely.
The worst part about it for me was having to strip naked and stand in that IR booth that was clear on all four sides while they basked me with special lights to kill the germs. But I don't know why the cast and crew had to stand around and giggle through the whole thing.
To be fair, though, that is the part of the season we're all looking forward to the most, though.
No, you're not. Trust me, there's more.
That was hard for all of us.
Okay, we're coming close to an hour here, so I want to go through some ways that fans can get to know each of you better outside of the Holzer Files. Dave, for you, it's got to be Darkness Radio, and in particular, you have a special episode that I believe dropped earlier today with these two here.
Yeah, we took a look at season 2 and talked about some of our favorite parts of season 1 and things that we'd learned along the way. So I host Darkness Radio, which is a paranormal themed radio show every week. And along with my longtime co-host and producer, Tim Dennis, we explore the strange and supernatural and true crime. So Tuesday's true crime, Wednesday and Thursday, you can tune in for supernatural, and you can find us on any of your podcast apps. But right now you could just tell your smart device, hey, Alexa, play the newest episode of Darkness Radio, and it should fire off and play a new episode for you. So that's the best way to find and keep up with me.
Dave, there's a real chance you just set off well over 300 people across this nation and in Iceland playing Darkness Radio. So nice move. Well played. That one episode today, though, where y'all are talking about this season, I saw that you're going to be you featured some EVPs that aren't going to be shared on the air.
That's right. Yeah, there were a couple of EVPs that I captured. I'd gotten the Panasonic DR60 for this season, and which is kind of the holy grail of audio recorders. It was pulled off the market many years ago. It was one of the first mini dictation recorders. So it doesn't even have a chip you can pull out to download the audio. So it came out. People were complaining that they would be recording a lecture and other voices would be picked up. They were getting these strange noises that they could hear. So the initial response was, oh, the shielding is bad and you're actually getting byproduct of the machine itself, or they're recording stray radio frequencies. So when I got the recorder, which they sell for like $2,000 on eBay,
wow.
I got the recorder from a friend to use for the season. She was kind enough to say, I'm not ghost hunting much anymore. Use it for the length of Holzer Files. As long as you guys are on the air, you can borrow this. And I got it sent to my hotel, and I broke it out. I'm like, well, I'm going to test it because I want to hear if every time I run this, I'm getting something, then to me, it is the internal mechanisms. And I ran it a few times. I got nothing. Then all of a sudden I got a response, and I called Shane, and I'm like, Shane, get down here. And he came to my room. I played it, and he's like, dude, you're jerking me around. I'm like, no, let's do another one. So I played another EVP, and I asked, can you say my name? Can you say Dave or Dave Schrader? And you hear this ghost just kind of goes and laughs at me. And Shane and I play this back, and Shane's like, no, that's crazy. And to tell you why I believe this piece is more reliable than people are led to believe, we would take it in and get nothing at some locations. In other locations, it would be off the charts. And I ended up catching an EVP with my daughter from my hotel room. We were FaceTiming, and I was telling her the stuff that was going on. And I said, do you want to do an EVP session in my haunted hotel room? She's like, yeah. And so I did a couple, and we weren't getting any responses. And I said, well, you ask the questions this time. And I turned on my recorder, and you hear her go, Dad, I don't know what to ask. And there's this pause, and then you hear this ghostly voice say, a question. And
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it blew my daughter's mind, and it was great because we're looking at each other. You could see if I spoke and get this EVP response. So this season, we get some really compelling and freaky EVP.
Even in this first episode, one of the best EVPs I think I've ever heard. Ever.
Oh, that's exciting, Cindy. By the way, Dave, Vanessa Rouse and Kimberly Campert's Alexa both started playing Darkness Radio. So mission accomplished. Also, people
let me say this. Echo, play the newest episode of Darkness Radio. Play the newest episode of Darkness Radio. Google, play the newest
everybody out there. You've got like 3 hours to get that episode played. So once we log off here, go listen to that episode, and then you're going to be totally pumped and in the perfect mood for the new episode of the Holzer Files. Now, Cindy. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
I mention one thing because I've noticed this question pop up. Everybody wants to know why I would dare to have the evil Ouija board behind me.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
First of all, I use this as my set a lot for shows like this and TV interviews. But this is a crystal gazer board from the late 20s, early 30s. It was given to me as a gift from Bob Murch from the Talking Board Society. And I'm not afraid of Ouija boards like a lot of people. And I believe it's in the intent you bring to using these tools, what kind of effect you get. I will say this Ouija board makes a cameo appearance in one of our episodes this season. We decided to try something radical and different. And I really am proud of the team that we were willing to come together and try something, but not what you would expect with a Ouija board. So tune in, and we get some great results this season. Like I said, we only use it in one episode, and it's a very brief moment that you'll see it. But I was very pleased with what we did, and I spoke to experts from the demonology field, Ouija board, and medium Cindy Keza to get her thoughts. Could we do what I was thinking? And she was very supportive of it, which had my team not been supportive of that, I certainly wouldn't have incorporated it in any way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking forward to that.
And real quick, because of that experiment, we caught one of the best pieces of evidence I think we caught all season. So I'm thankful to have a leader in Dave to, bring that stuff to the table and kind of lead us in those directions, because like I said, I mean, it paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, were you on KQ92 this morning? Radio?
QRS with Tom Bernard, yeah.
Randy Bartholomew wanted me to let you know he was listening to you this morning.
I was all over the United States the last 3 days. I've done, I think, 15 to 20 interviews a day on radio. So everywhere across the United States, from Hawaii to Alaska, Minnesota to New York, Arizona, New Mexico, I've been on them all today.
So the real question is, the rest of you people outside of Randy Bartholomew, why weren't you hearing Dave this morning? That's the real question. Cindy, a lot of people throughout the show here today have been asking about automatic writing. They really want to know what the motivation was, and I would like to know a little more about it.
Yeah, so automatic writing is something that I like to use when I'm walking into a location and I feel super overwhelmed by clairvoyant images or feelings, because sometimes I'll walk in and I'm getting hit by so much stuff. So automatic writing is channeled writing. It's actually light trance. So I'm not going into trance like Ethel and Sybil, but but I'm allowing the spirit to talk through me through writing. So I'm not hearing it and writing it. It's coming through and I'm seeing it come out at the same time everybody else is. So for me, it's a way to really, I guess, get grounded in a location. And it also brings through different evidence, and I don't have to filter it through myself. So like with clairvoyance, if I'm seeing a flash of a knife, for example, then I have to feel into it. Oh, was it a person gets stabbed, or is there a knife in, somewhere under the bed or whatever? But with automatic writing, it's just the stream of consciousness. It's the spirits channeling through me. So it's different. Yeah.
Now, Shane, we've had the Poor Shane hashtag. We have the shirts. At least, hopefully, y'all all have the shirts. Did season 2 properly prepare you for Dave's son Max completely just dragging you today on Twitter?
You know what? I cannot believe out of the mouth of babes calls me a baby. Okay, calls me just a straight up
Poor
baby.
baby Shane.
Not a chicken, nothing like that. Just straight up. Oh, he's a baby. Which he's not wrong. Like in certain senses, he's not wrong. I've got to give it to him.
I was about to ask, can you let that stand though, Shane? Got to be a response.
Well, look, how am I going to try to insult a young, cool kid like that? I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm just going to let his statement stand and go from there.
Hey, but his statement came from the heart, because he was like, he goes, "Is there a new episode of Holzer Files tonight?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Can I please stay up late and watch it? I love Shane." And I go, "Why do you love Shane?" And he goes, "I love that he runs and screams all the time." Hold on. And I put out my phone and I recorded him. And I'm like, "So are you excited?" He's, "Yeah." And I go, "What are you excited about?" "Shane, I love when he jumped over the bench." And I go, "What did he do then?" "He ran upstairs." And I jokingly said, "Oh, is Shane just a big chicken?" He goes, "No, he's a baby."
It is right now Dave Schrader's Instagram. I'm sorry, his Twitter. Everyone needs to go check that out.
And
Shane,
let me say real quick, that behavior is taught, Dave. Okay, because you call me this stuff all the time. That behavior is taught.
And I just want to say this about Shane. Like, Shane you represent like people, like humanity, right? Like and I love you, and I think you're a badass and you're strong, and you go and you're like, we're like, Shane, go in the tunnel, and you're like, okay, so
No, he's
like,
not. No, he's not. He's like, okay. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it takes me a little bit before I even try, but I appreciate you saying that anyway. Anyway, Cindy, it's better than Dave calling me a baby.
what really to me matters here is that even in the Schrader household, you were the star of the show. I think that's what we've established.
That's a good way to look at it.
I think so. I think Shane is the breakout star of the Holzer Files. Yep.
My daughters have a crush on Shane. My sons have a crush on Cindy. And I do want to correct one thing.
My grandmother has a crush on you. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. That was a low blow. I'm sorry.
From me? I do want to correct one thing. I'm not the leader of this group. There is no leader. We work together in tandem as a team, and we each take turns leading different acts. Shane leads the technology. Cindy really leads with the sensitivity and what she does in her experiments. I'm the interviewer. I'm the guy that tries to dig deeper into the history. So we all have our speciality, but there's no one of us that's the leader. The leader is Hans Holzer's Files. That's what we follow. That's
right.
That's the protocol. So as much as I think that's one of the reasons fans connect so well with y'all, in that you have Alexandra Holzer bringing the past to today. You have one of the best mediums in the business. You've got Shane bringing the next level technology, particularly this season, and you, Dave, who so many people have been familiar with for years through radio and all the other things you've done. I think it really it gels together into an absolutely amazing show that has something for everybody. Shane, earlier back in January, you and I did a paranormal investigation together, and now you've brought some of the other guys from that investigation together with you into a new group called the Searchers. Tell everybody how they can watch y'all and how they can actually go on a live paranormal investigation with you guys coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, so I appreciate you bringing that up. So a lot of people were asking me, well, Shane, what did you do before Holzer Files? How did you get started? What were the grassroots? How did you get into the position you were in? So I have these buddies, Josh Purvis and Ray Causey, and they've been buddies of mine for a very long time. And they kind of helped me get to where I am today, as far as with different experiments that I would try, different tech. I kind of throw some of my ideas back and forth to them whenever I'm not on the road or doing other things. So we started this group called Searchers. They can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Searchers Believe. And what we do is we go and we do local haunts, stuff that I kind of started out, places I started out going to, and kind of show the history of that, show different cool little experiments. And we also focus on the folklore of the South and around the area, and kind of give the background of that. Again, trying really cool experiments and filming it. Right now we're just on social media, and it'd be cool for everybody to check it out.
You guys have a hunt coming up very soon, though, that people can buy tickets to, right?
Yeah, so that's the Polly Joe in Union Springs, Alabama. It's on December 5th. And I believe we've got 20, probably around 19, 20 tickets left. But they can go to searchersbelieve.com, searchersbelieve.com, and check that out. Also, next week, we're going to Sweet Spring Sanitarium in West Virginia. So that's going to be awesome. We're going to try to film as much as we can there. So,
and y'all been doing some really good Facebook Lives from your investigations as well.
Yeah. And you know, the response and people engaging with us has been phenomenal. I mean, it's been awesome. So we're just trying to keep that up, trying to get people engaged. And the main thing is we're wanting them to investigate with us. We want them to be included in it. So it's pretty cool.
Cindy, kind of at the beginning of the pandemic, I had reached out to you on Facebook saying, I want to do a Facebook Live with you talking about mediumship, but almost immediately you started popping up on Facebook Live every week. And I was like, I don't need to do this with Cindy. Cindy's doing this herself. And like, you have been, to me, one of the most accessible members of this team throughout the pandemic. You're on Facebook Live a lot. Tell people what you've been doing. And I know you have some Zooms coming up on November 2nd and 5th, but I believe they might be sold out.
Yeah, so what I was doing during well, we're still in the pandemic, but what I was doing during the lockdown is I'm really, fascinated by other mediums. I love working with other mediums. I'm interested in the processes of other mediums, right? And so I was doing these live Zooms where I was bringing on different mediums, and we were having discussions about mediumship, paranormal activity, people from different religions, different belief systems. So I just, if anybody wants to go back and watch those live Zooms, Zoom to Facebook, they're all on my Facebook page. But, before the pandemic started, what I was doing was going around and doing live events. Ironically, in comedy clubs. No, I'm not a comedian. I just use, if you Google me, it says Cindy Kay's a comedian. I'm not a comedian. I just I don't know how to Google. Can you please change that? But I do live events in comedy clubs because the venues are really nice and they're just really fun to work in, and it's a beautiful setting. So anyway, I was doing these live events that I can no longer do. So I've moved them to Zoom, and it's working. And so that's been really exciting. And it also shows people, honestly, this is the thing I think I like even more about it. It shows people that a medium doesn't have to be in the same room with you to do a reading for you, because I'm doing a Zoom reading with 40 or 50 people from all different parts of the United States, sometimes people from different countries, and I'm bringing through their loved ones from the other side. And so that to me is a testament to the spirit world and the energy and how it works. Yeah. And I'm teaching. Yep.
That, first of all, like the idea of being able to do this from long distance with 40, 50 people, that's amazing. But one thing I keep seeing in the comments is people are asking, did you do an interview with Amy Allen? Do you know Amy Allen? A lot of Amy Allen questions.
Oh, no, I have not done an interview with Amy Allen yet. I have not met Amy Allen yet. I just, we just haven't been able to connect. But I would love to do an interview with Amy Allen if she'd like to come on, for sure. Yeah, she's great.
Cindy is Amy Allen.
Never seen the two of them together in the same place.
Never. And they're both on the same production company. Just saying.
Cindy, you said you've been teaching. Tell us kind of what does that entail? What are you teaching?
I teach mediumship. I love teaching mediumship. I've been doing a lot of mediumship for beginners because what I found during the pandemic is a lot of people, they've been forced to slow down and they're suddenly having all of these experiences that they maybe weren't having before, or they weren't maybe aware of before. So I've been teaching mediumship, and it's been really, really fun. So if anybody wants to take a class, I'm offering them, and I'll post on Zoom, Facebook, and I do it on Zoom when I'm teaching the next one. Yeah.
I don't believe I would have any talent in that, but I 100% want to get in on one of those. I think that's
you
really
can
cool.
come. You're invited.
I think a lot of people in the comments here are getting really excited about that. Dave, Cindy, Shane, thank y'all so much for joining me here today. We did an hour and 15 minutes, and it feels like we've only been here for 20. I can't wait for tonight's episode. Everybody go check out Darkness Radio to hear more about tonight's episode, the whole season, and make sure to follow Dave, Shane, Cindy on Twitter. They're going to be live tweeting tonight, and you can interact with them, ask them questions about what's happening during the episode. Everybody, tell everybody again one more time how to follow you on Twitter.
Well, first of all, I want to know what time you're in, because we've been doing this for 45 minutes, not an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, that's right. We started a half hour late. My bad. Yeah, not a half hour late. We started at 6:30. Never mind.
Yeah, you don't
have. Wow, this is moving fast.
Until our show.
I was blown away at how fast this was going, Dave.
Yeah,
I'm just a big dummy.
At Darkness Radio, that's the best way to keep in touch with me and be a part of the show. And we encourage you. Listen, if you want to be a part of our Darkness Radio show, we every Wednesday we do Supernatural News and Parashare, where we want to hear your paranormal encounters. And if you go to darknessradio.com, you can find our Voices from Beyond voicemail phone number to call in and tell your story. Or you can always email me your paranormal encounters to dave@darknessradio.com. And let me tell you, this season of Holzer Files will be epic for everybody. I hope you'll stay with us on this. And let me ask you this. I'm begging you this. This isn't just for our show, but every TV show you love that you wonder how it gets canceled. Well, I DVR'd every episode. Everybody I know DVR'd the episodes, and we all binge watch them at the end of the season. That does no good for your favorite show. Watching live is always the best way to make sure your show stays on the air. If you can't do that and you DVR it, make sure you watch them within the first 48 hours, or it doesn't count towards ratings. So what you can do is make sure that you watch it. If you can't watch it, turn it on while you're taking a shower so it counts to the ratings. Watch it later because you know you're going to watch it, love it, and support it. And the other thing is, tell everybody about the Holzer Files. You know, we don't have Ghost in our title. So a lot of people don't even know what the Holzer Files is yet. Introduce your neighbors, your friends, your family to the Holzer Files and give them a new perspective to the paranormal, a new way of looking at it. And hopefully once they see what we are able to do this season, we'll be on for the next 20 seasons like Ghost Adventures. So please, maintain the support and love that you're showing to us here and continue it for the rest of the year. And tonight we need a big showing. So watch it live. Everybody watch it live.
Yeah.
Your friends and family to watch it live. Be a part of it tonight.
And Halloween's coming up in 2 days. This is the time of year to stay up late, get some hot cocoa and watch some scary stuff late at night.
Crack open some Pixie Sticks and some Mountain Dew, rush going, and you're going to love it.
Exactly. Tell your friends, share this video as well. Okay, Cindy, Shane, let people know how to follow you one more time.
Yeah, and Twitter, I'm at Medium Cindy Keza. On Instagram, it's at Cindy Keza, but it's Medium Cindy Keza, and Facebook, Medium Cindy Keza. So type in Cindy Keza, you'll find me.
So on Facebook, Medium Cindy Keza is where they'd go to find out how to take your classes.
Yes, everything about classes is posted to Facebook. Yes.
Okay, great. How about you, Shane?
So Twitter and Instagram is at Starring Shane. So you can find me there. And then on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Starring Shane. And I want to say really quick, thank you guys, each and every one of you, the fans out there. The reason why the show is successful is because of you guys. So I just want to take a minute to say thank you. You guys are awesome.
Thank you guys.
We really appreciate the support.
And thank you to James. Thank you to our buddy Peppermint Fatty for being supportive.
We love you, James. You're the best.
Oh yeah, we love you, man.
Much. Tonight, everybody we're doing hashtag. Is it Holzer Files or the Holzer Files? Which are we doing?
Holzer Files.
Holzer
I think
Files.
it's just Holzer Files.
Why not both?
Hashtag Holzer Files.
Hashtag the Holzer Files.
And hashtag 25 seasons in a movie.
Yes.
That's what we're going for, everybody.
Hey,
all right.
And can I mention one quick thing? Listen,
Yeah.
we're in a weird world right now. And there's a lot of people that feel isolated and alone. And if you can spend some time with your friends on the show, that's great. But I'm going to throw out to you an invitation that I threw out at the beginning of this pandemic. If you are alone and you're feeling dark, you're feeling out of sorts, just remember you're not alone. You can always email me, dave@darknessradio.com. Any time of day or night, I'll do my best to answer every email. If you need somebody to talk to, include your phone number, and I will call you from our Darkness Radio hotline when I get a chance and chat. But you're not alone. Don't give up. Mm-hmm. We're going to get through this together, but we got to stay positive. We got to keep our eyes on the prize, and we are going to get through this. So stay cool, stay calm, stay safe. Don't make bad decisions, and happy Ghostober.
Mm-hmm. Dave, I love that. There's a lot of people out there we all know, including ourselves, that are going through a lot, dealing with a lot. There's an undercurrent of sadness in this country right now. So I really, really appreciate that message, and that is a great message to go out on. Have a great night, everybody, and I will see all three of you tonight on Twitter, 11:10 Central, only on the Travel Channel.
Thank you.